The Prophet of Thought series. Open your mind. Prophet of Thought series.
All right, y'all. We appear to be back and is to be working this time. All right. Shit appears to be working. I hate when this shit happens. Damn it. All right. Let's try this again. Welcome back to the old TPOT YouTube page. You know, as usual, our ghetto system has a tendency to experience severe technical ghetto difficulties. But fortunately, I was able to get it working. Hopefully, all the unicorns reassemble because they probably like to hell with X shit because X shit's ghetto. Well, Cats is here first. So, what's good, Lady Cats? What's going on?
Nothing much.
Can you hear me and all that stuff? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you?
Yeah,
Because
I
I can
can
hear
hear
you.
you and see you.
Okay, you clear and all that stuff. Okay, good, beautiful. Um, while we waiting for the other unicorns to come back, keep my fingers crossed because they might not come back. Um, tonight I wanted to get you ladies to speak on the brothers. I wanted to talk a little bit about well, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. Um, first and foremost, though, I want to get this out of the way because you've heard, and I believe I talked with y'all about this stuff last week. Because you've heard so much in the media about sexual harassment and all that stuff, and the man never gets believed, whether the story was made up or it was just it was something consensual at the time and the lady had to change her heart, whatever the case may be. Maybe she was a hoe of conscience, I don't know. But my problem is the man is always considered to be the aggressor, and I get it because the narrative is that a man can impose sex on a woman and a woman can impose sex on a man, right? That's the narrative. But that's not always true. A woman can impose sex on a man if that woman is in a position of power. Um, for instance, if a woman is in authority over a man, say a man works for her at her company, she's the boss, she can say, well, give me some of that schlong, or you ain't gonna get this raise, or I'm gonna fire you, or as a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell y'all something that happened to me. I'm gonna share this story with y'all. I wanted to wait until the rest of the unicorns got here, but I'll go ahead and I'll tell y'all. Um, when I was a young guy, right? I was about 15 or 16. And hey, what's going on, Don Teasy, the darkness await, sheep stay sleep TV. What's good, brother? I was about 15 or 16, right? And my mother had a lot of friends. She had a lot of ladies that came around and stuff like that, right? And as y'all know, because I done told y'all a million times, I'm a blue collar guy. I've always been a blue collar guy. I was raised by a blue collar man. So I've always been good with my hands, always knew how to fix pretty much anything. And that started at a very young age. Welcome back, Lady Classic. Um, when I was about 15, I was out at a store one day and one of my mother's friends saw me. And she said, could you come by the house, and do some stuff for me, cut the grass, trim the hedges, all that kind of stuff. Something that I knew how to do. I mean, I was raised by a landscaper. So I said, fine. Um, Lady Kendra says she didn't get the link. How about I do this, Lady Kendra? I'm just going to put it in the chat. All right. I'll put it in the chat. Hopefully it'll work, but it don't be working when you put it in the chat. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and email it to you. I'll email it to you because it don't be working for some reason when you put it in the chat. I'll email it to you again. Hold on, y'all. I'm about to share this story with y'all, and I told wifey about it, so she knows. But I'm gonna share it with my folks. I'm gonna share it with my folks. All right, Lady Kendra, I just sent it. Like I said, when I was like 15 or 16, I had ran into one of my mother's friends, right? And she wanted me to come to her house to do some work around her house, right? So I go there, I cut the grass, I trim the hedges, I do a little bit of tree work and whatnot. And she comes out, she pays me, right? And she's like, "Oh, you look tired, you look thirsty, you want to come in, have some lemonade, juice, whatever." So she was one of my mom's friends. I had seen her many, many times before. So, I mean, it was no big deal. I went in the house. And when I went in the house, I mean, this lady was immediately on me, y'all. Like, I mean, by the time the door closed, I mean, she was like on me. I mean, I didn't really know what to do. Now, mind you, I was about 15 or 16. And by the time I was 15 or 16, when I was 15, I had a 25-year-old girlfriend. So I wasn't a stranger to being with grown women. I really wasn't. But she was a lot older. She was my mom's age, you know. She was my mom's age. And not only that, she was one of my mom's friends. Because my mom's used to host big card games at our house. So, there was always women and stuff there on the weekends. And she was one of the regulars. Her and my mom's hung out together. I saw her all the time. And like I said, when I went in the house, I mean, by the time that door shut, I mean, this woman was on me. I mean, I couldn't, and I didn't know what to do, y'all. I didn't know what to do. And the only thing I could think of doing, welcome back, Lady Kendra. The only thing I could think of doing was like pushing her off of me. That's the only thing I could think of doing. And she was like, what's wrong, what you don't like women and all this kind of stuff, the usual stuff that women say. And I was like, no, I was like, you're my mom's friend, I don't know how, I didn't know how to react to it. Really, I didn't know how to react. And she said, well, do this or I'm going to tell people that you tried to rape me. Now, when she said that really kind of scared me because you talking 30 years ago, y'all. You know what I'm saying? 30 years ago. So when she said that, I automatically was just, I was petrified because, I didn't know what this lady would go back and say. I'm in her house. All right. I'm in her house. So she can say anything. They're not going to, who are they going to believe? Some 15-year-old kid or some, woman like in her 40s. So I went along with it. I mean, I did it. I didn't enjoy it. I know y'all wondering. I did not enjoy it. I didn't. It was horrible. It was like I just wanted it to be over. And after it was done, After the deed was done, I'm not even going to go. I'm not even going to go into the details of what happened, y'all. I'm just not. But after it was done, I felt like I don't know. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say to my moms. I never told my moms this. My mom's is dead and gone now. My mom's died 3 years ago. So my mom's never knew this about her friend, as far as I know. I don't know if the lady ever confessed or whatever. I mean, the lady, she may be dead now too. I don't even know. But I told y'all this story for this reason. Because like I said, there's a narrative when it comes to the brothers. There's this narrative that men are the only ones who can impose sex on women. And I'm here to let y'all know that that is not true, because the shit happened to me where sex was imposed on me because, in a sense, the woman was in a position of power. Um, I'll give y'all another example. Look at all these teachers who are having sex with these young male students that are 12 and 13 and 14 and 15. Now, it always comes off as it's like a relationship, right? They're having a relationship. But how do we know that these women who are in their 20s and 30s aren't imposing the sex on these young men? Because they are in a position of power. These guys are 13, 14, 15. These women are 25. They're 30. They're 35. Number one, they're more of an adult. They're more mature. They have more experience. And they are in a position of power. It's their teacher. She can tell them anything. She can say, well, you got to do this because I'm your teacher. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So a man can be put, I could say a male can be put in a position where the sex is imposed on him. Now, I segue that to this because tonight I want to talk to y'all about the brothers. Now, oftentimes, and I don't want to stay on this subject too long, but oftentimes brothers are called deadbeats. They're called said to wells, good for nothings, all of that stuff you hear about the brothers, right? Now, does anybody ever question whether or not just the sex, forget about the sex that a man has with a woman, but what's the end result of the sexual activity, which a lot of times ends in a child, correct? It ends in a child. Now, do you ladies feel, this is going to be my first question to you ladies tonight. Do you ladies feel that these children that are birthed by these women, do you feel that these children are being imposed on the brothers? And I'll start. Whoever wants to answer first can.
So the question is, do you feel that the children of are you saying that the children are born out of wedlock? Okay. Well, ask the question again.
Do you ladies feel that these children that are being birthed by these women, do you feel like the children are being imposed on the brother?
Oh, well, sometimes I do. Um, because you have to think when when a when we live in this society, this kind of like feminist society where everyone is supposed to be responsible for their bodies, and they say my body, my choice. well, if you choose to let a guy, sleep with you raw, and then you end up pregnant, then you can't really be surprised. And you can't put 100% of the blame on it because, after all, it's your body. So while he might have made a bonehead move not using a condom or something, you still have responsibility for your body. So,
Okay. Lady
yeah.
Kendra, Lady Katz.
Okay, well, I'll go next. So
Oh, I'm
the
sorry,
the
I was speaking on mute. You can go
oh, were
ahead.
you? Oh, go ahead then, honey. If you already started, we didn't hear you, but we want to hear. Go ahead.
I was on mute. I'm sorry. Um, I have to agree with Kat. Sometimes there's an imposition of a kid, especially when there is some type of deceit on the part of the woman. Um, I would say, especially in cases where the man has a lot to lose if he's wealthy or if he is maybe famous or something like that. Um, then he would have to probably be really, really careful about the women that he chooses to sleep with because it's a well known kind of thing nowadays where if he's a man of means, any kind of means, he doesn't have to be a millionaire. If he just has a really, really good job, he
Kendra.
makes
Oh.
5 figures. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. You know what? Go ahead, Ruby. I'm going to take these headphones off because I think they might be shorting out a little bit. So go ahead, Ruby.
Oh, we could hear you perfectly. I
Yeah,
I didn't miss
I can hear
anything
you.
you said.
Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. So, he doesn't have to be a millionaire. He could be making a high 5 figures. If he makes 80,000 a year or something like that, it's enough for her. If she's low enough on the totem pole, that's a come up for her. And it's pretty much well known that if there's a high chance if she looks really, really good and she's coming on to you really strongly, she's probably going to run a womb racket on you. You have to be really careful with that.
Womb bracket.
When we womb rackets, that because that's what I call them. That's what they run when they catch a guy up with a kid. Because if you doing your thing and you do a hookup and it's a one night stand, he doesn't want to be a parent from that. That he didn't enter into a relationship with you. There was no um, circumstance where you guys were really together, so a kid probably wouldn't have been a surprise. If it's a one night stand hookup, he's not looking for you to have his kid. He didn't come with you and spy you out of the crowd to say, that's the future mother of my children. He didn't do that. So if you get pregnant from that encounter and you decide to keep the child, because the way that the laws are made is once you're pregnant as a female, you have complete reproductive rights. Okay, it's complete. The man, he can't tell you to abort it and he can't tell you to have it. Okay, so if you decide, he looks like he had a pretty good job, or it could be something so trifling as he had hazel eyes and curly hair, so I want my kid to look like that. And then you have this kid, I don't know that it's all the way correct for her to then try to get him to perform a father role. You see what I'm saying? And this is kind of the catch 22 with free sex in a society because it's not necessarily free. There isn't really a such thing as sex without strings attached because you can have sex without relationship strings attached, but I don't know that you can have do anything without a consequence. So, sometimes I do feel like it's imposed, especially, if I'm a groupie type woman and I'm all around the ballers or the rappers or the who, they're running a scam. They're not even being like old school side chicks that would be quiet and kind of stay to the side. These are these new jack side chicks that want to get pregnant and blast you on Instagram. So, they're running a racket and they're imposing children on these men in order to get a financial come up or social come up or whatever it is that they're looking for. It's certainly not based in love and the fact that we have a relationship and the fact that, I want this guy to be the father of my children and we're so loving together. It's really not about that at all. And since women in America have complete reproductive rights, um, you don't actually have to birth a kid. You don't. Not really. Especially on a one night stand. I wouldn't have, if I was a woman in that situation, a young woman, and I'm, thotting and bopping around, and I have a one night stand and I get pregnant. The first of all, the first thing I'm doing is having protection. The second thing I'm doing is I'm taking Plan B pills. If a baby makes it past that, I don't necessarily believe in abortion per se, but I don't know that I'll try to contact that guy and tell him, oh, I've got your kid. What do you want to do? That's a heavy decision to have to make off the back of a few hours or whatever.
Agreed. I just one thing about you, Lady Kendra, when you start talking, I start writing. I don't know why. I just start writing. You make me want to write, Lady Kendra.
Oh, well,
Um,
thank you.
go ahead, Lady Classic.
Okay, well, in the cases where, a girl is really actually trying to trap a dude by, say, poking holes in the condom or, lying and saying she's on some kind of birth control, which really, if she's a random, you shouldn't be sleeping with her just because she has birth control without a condom anyway, because she's just a random. But in those types of cases where a girl is really trying to set you up because she's trying to trap you into being a daddy, yeah, I feel like fatherhood is imposed. However, in the same way that I think that women who have children and then expect to live a lavish life from having children are ridiculous because, no one owes you anything. You spread your legs, you got pregnant one way or the other, you made a choice to have that baby. And so I understand that, the man is not making a choice one way or the other. He's kind of more accepting a choice. Um, and, even if he has influence in that choice one way or the other, it's still ultimately her decision. And I understand that. But, you know, you have to take responsibility and accountability for your actions as well. And so you can't expect that, what, well, raw dogging feels better. I'm going to sleep with every girl and raw dog her. And then when she says, no, I'm not having an abortion, and, you didn't pull out fast enough or whatever it is, and oops, now she's pregnant, then you're going to be like, well, this isn't fair because I didn't want the kid. And, I'm saying no. Well, the thing is, her body's the one that's going to go through it. There's only so many abortions a girl can have before it actually really does impact her ability to have future children. Every abortion, it's still a surgery. So every abortion has a risk of, making you infertile for life and having other types of impact. So it's not like it's a light decision to a man who doesn't want a baby, but it's not as light of a decision to a woman. And, there are still many, many, many people who see abortion as, murder. So, them even making that decision is it's literally something that will weigh on their psyche, even if they don't, even if they personally still believe in the right to choose and they make that choice, it's still something that weighs heavily. So I think when men are looking at it, they're not seeing the weight and the ramifications. So one way or the other, two people made a foolish decision. And if she's going to keep it for whatever kinds of personal beliefs or whatever, I'm not saying that's his fault, but I'm saying that it's not something that he shouldn't have predicted. And if you don't want to have a baby, short of the things that I outlined at the beginning, if you don't want to have a baby, make sure you're wrapping it up. You know what I mean? Make sure that you're always being responsible. Make sure there's never that drunk night, because it's not something that like it just happens by magic and you couldn't have foreseen it.
Okay. We done been joined by the brother Jay Shine. What's good, man? What's
Mhm.
going on, brother?
What's good, y'all? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and
Yes,
clear,
sir.
man. Loud and clear.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, I'm
Hey
up here.
Ruby, hey Kendra. What's going on, cats? Brother X, what's going on,
Hey.
man?
We doing the Unicorn 4. We missing one though, cause Lady Ming, she gonna be indisposed tonight. She says she might be in the chat, but she not gonna she got something going on, so she not gonna be on here tonight. Um
Okay. Yeah, I was listening to what cats, not cats, excuse me, Ruby had to say, and I completely agree with her. I agree with her 110%. I just only thing I can add is this. The only reason I'll put a lot of responsibility on a woman at this point is not just because she's the woman. Um, it's her body, and this country and our Western society has invested trillions of dollars into birth control measures. So when we have women out here who are having, free sex, going around, going to the club, going home, getting their swerve on. I mean, come on, man, you gotta be responsible. I mean, there's too many forms of birth control out here just to be coming up pregnant. You literally have to want to get pregnant. You know what I mean? And nowadays, especially on top of that, all the forms of birth control they got the morning after pill. So y'all can go half on the morning after pill. That's just like $40, $50. Trust me, I know. I make a chick swallow after pill in a minute at gunpoint. You know what I mean? So, but all jokes aside, there's really no reason to come up pregnant. It's really straight up irresponsible, childish behavior to come up pregnant. And then I'm talking all that before you even get to the word abortion. You know what I mean? There's so many things you can do, and putting aside the morality of having sex with random people, put all that aside. I ain't, no preaching, but if you're going to be handling business, be responsible. It's part of being an adult.
I agree. I agree totally. Um, well, tonight, we talking beauty and the brothers. It's a euphemism for those of you who don't know what a euphemism is. Um, Tonight, I actually had the ladies. I wanted the ladies to show their faces tonight. Um, Lady Kendra, of course, she ducked out on me for whatever reason. I don't know, but I wanted the ladies to show their faces tonight, because what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to be asking, because this is what I do with the unicorns. The unicorns are like a female round table, and what I do is I throw questions at them. All
Hold on,
right.
hold on, hold on. You created a girl group or something called the Unicorns?
Yeah,
They dropping an album next month or
I
something?
don't know. They are a team. They are a team of unicorns that I have assembled here on TP here on TPOT,
Oh
and
shit.
yeah,
The Unicorns.
yeah, the unicorn four is what I call them.
Okay.
What I do is I throw questions at them, right? I throw questions at them, and I just sit back and listen to the answers. Now, last week I threw a lot of softball questions at them last week. This week, not so much. Um, and the first question I asked was, did they feel like, a woman can impose a baby on a man? Now, the next thing I want to ask y'all is, have any of you ladies, have any of you ever imposed sex on a man or know a woman who has?
Hmm. Well, I do have my dad has an adoptive brother who was actually getting molested by his older sister before he got adopted. So I don't know her, but I know that's what happened to him. So I know that it does happen.
Okay. How about you, Lady Classic? Ever impose sex on a
Okay.
man? Ever impose sex on a man?
Me, no, I personally never imposed sex on a man. And to be honest with you, I was maybe 10, and my mom's fiance at the time, his nephew was like 18, and he told me his first sexual experience, he was 8 or 9, the neighbor, and the neighbor did the same thing, and he didn't even know what was happening, and it was really traumatic for me. He was really scared, and he didn't know how to tell his mom and everything. And I remember initially I kind of thought maybe he was kidding, because I didn't think of, men being able to be, raped, because they, unless they're penetrated by other men. But like he was explaining, like it got hard there. That's just like a kind of thing that happened. It wasn't in his control, and he didn't like it, but his body responded to it. So I think like I started to understand that there is more to it than just the physical. Even though for men it's so highly physical, there's still more to it than that.
Oh yeah, Lady Kendra.
Um, well, as far as me imposing sex, that's a no. That's gonna be a no. I've never been in any positions of power. I've barely been in positions of desirability. So I've definitely not imposed anything on anybody. But I do know of at least two males who were molested. They were young and they were molested by family members, female family members. Now, I don't know those family members, their family members, not in my family. Um, so I don't know the women who did that to them, but I do know that they were molested. And we're talking about as little boys, like, 7 or 8. And then the cousins were like 15 or 16, um, and they molested them.
Mm, wow. Okay, let me ask you ladies this. Then we're gonna jump around a little bit, so just bear with me. Um, what is your definition of masculinity? What does masculinity mean to you, ladies? Whoever want to go first can.
Mm.
I'll jump in. Let's see. For me, masculinity and manhood comes across for me as things like having honor, having integrity, and being, it so sounds cliche, but a man of your word. Like Scarface said, you got your man got two things: his balls and his word. So
I agree.
he has to have his word. If a man's word doesn't mean anything, and that's very high for me. Lying, being dishonest, being deceitful, those things are pet peeves of mine. I really hate it. So a man who can say something and then stand behind what he says, even whether I agree with it, disagree with it, whatever, I can respect it because he's saying something and he's standing behind it. If he says he's going to do something, then you can count on, unless there's some cataclysmic event, he's going to do it. If he says he's not going to do something, he's not going to do it. You know, um, so a man to me has truthfulness and he has leadership qualities. Now, every man can't be the alpha in every group, but I do feel as though true manhood kind of comes across with how he moves around other men. Do other men respect him? Because you can get a woman to kind of go along with what you're doing, but if you get in a crowd of men and they look down on you as far as a respect type of situation, like this guy, we don't respect, like every group he goes in of men, they don't respect him, then I would have a hard time respecting that guy. Because there's something that the men see that might be lacking in his manhood. that is causing them not to respect him as a man. So a man that can move around other men confidently and command some sort of basic respect out of those men, then that comes across as manhood to me. And I'm not really getting down into the depths of that, but that's kind of what it reads to me just on a surface, you know. So leadership qualities, honesty, trustworthiness, things of that nature.
Okay.
Hey, I don't like that long answer. God damn.
That's Lady Kendra, man.
Yeah, shit. I
Kendra's
ain't mad
fire,
at that at
man.
all.
Lady
I mean,
Kendra's fire.
that's not a short question. I mean, easy question to answer. So to hear a woman put it down like that, a long answer, that was very that's interesting.
These
Okay.
are the unicorns, brother Jay Shine. These are the
That's right.
unicorns,
Unicorn
man.
four.
Yeah, man. These are
Unicorn four.
unicorns.
We gotta make
They're
them
not
icon.
they're not easy to find, man. They're not. But I have gathered four. I have found four.
Oh shit. You the fucking oracle. The
I
prophet.
try to be. who wanna who wanna go next? Who's next?
I guess I'll go.
Okay.
So, masculinity to me would be somebody who's confident, who's protective, and who is consistent. And what else? I guess sure of themselves. I guess that would be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what, Katz? You're a really honest person. You know how I can tell?
Mm-hmm.
You know how I can tell?
Yeah.
Because
How?
when you talk, you cast your eyes to the right all the time.
Okay.
You do. I don't want you to be self-conscious about it, but I noticed that about you since you've been talking. When you talk and you think, you cast your eyes to the right. Only honest people do that.
Okay.
Liars always cast their eyes to the left.
Okay.
Just saying. Lady Classic.
Honestly, I don't know that I'm going to be really good at defining masculinity. Like, I know that see it, and it's not like a cookie cutter thing. Like all men who look like physically a certain way are masculine, and all ones who look another way like that. Um, so, but like I don't think I've ever tried to put words to it so much. So, I think yeah, confidence, it's like that, an inner self-confidence, an inner awareness, an inner self-control. And I don't mean like you have a rock or anything, but just there's a self-control and an awareness that masculine men have that less men don't have, because they get caught up by emotions, where I think a masculine man knows how to keep those in check and in control and use them as I'm using him. Um, he is a natural provider and a natural protector. So someone who just naturally will make you feel like if there was an emergency, you're going to turn to and kind of hide behind or whatever, because you feel like he not only can protect you but will want to. He'll want to step forward and stand and be that man. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know that there's probably more things, but it's one of those things you just know it when you see it.
Okay. Well, we'll go on to the next round of questioning. Now, statistics say that pretty much 95%, but somewhere between 90 and 95% of black men, when they do get married, they marry black women, right? There's about maybe 10% in the highs, 12% that marry outside of that. But only only about 30% of black women ever get married, right? So, why do you feel, why do you ladies feel that more black men are not getting on bended knee for more black women? Whoever wants to go first can.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I think a lot of black men are scared of the repercussions because, like, specifically in America, a lot of marriages end in divorce, and they get taken to the cleaners in the divorce. So I guess a lot of men figure, why bother? Like, they'd rather be like in a common law situation than like an actual marriage.
Mm. Not don't pay for the cow when you can get the milk for free kind of thing.
Yeah. And there, among other things, like sometimes I know like the list would be the attitude, uh, just the combativeness and all that. It's, like, I don't know if you're familiar with the BGS's series on the what was it, the myth of white womanhood,
Mm-hmm.
and how it was talking about how black women, are very just combative with their men,
Mm-hmm.
you know, specifically in America.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I
Hey, can
know.
I add something to that stat you was bringing up? X.
Go ahead, brother Jay Shine.
Yeah. Right now, the last stat that was, recorded out of black men who are married, I think is only there. It's not all black men are not married, but the ones that are married, 85% of them are married to black women.
Okay.
Only 7% are married to white women.
Okay.
And the funny thing about that stat that no one talks about is that for black men, we get is an insecurity with the sisters we know. Not the sisters that are here, but at large. Every time they see, especially a well-to-do black man with a white woman, they lose their fucking mind. Where the vast majority of black men are still with black women. And
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing that people miss all the way around. Out of 85% of black men who are with black women, they're married to women who already got kids. Who, you know what I mean? Like they taking in baby mamas.
Mm-hmm.
So we really get a bad rap. You know what I mean? It's not like we on some king's god of the universe where I'm going to marry a virgin and only have a wife with my kids, and that's not even the case. We stepping up and playing stepdad to a lot of situations, and so we get frustrated. Black men are getting frustrated with the sisterhood when they keep throwing us under the bus, saying that we don't want them, and it's not true. It's just not true at all. I mean, when we look at the situation, just the fact that 85% of them that are married are with black women,
Mm-hmm.
we're still producing 90% of the black children with black women. You see what I'm saying? Black
Mm-hmm.
women, children, the children that black women have, 90% of them were black men. So we're still procreating with them. We're procreating with black women at a high percentage. We marry them at a high percentage. And then when we do marry them, we don't even marry on our terms.
Mm-hmm.
We don't marry in situations that are perfect for us. We marry a woman that we find a sister that, you know what? She 30 something years old, she 40 something years old, and she good people. I'm rocking with her, no matter what her situation is. She could have had, you know, kids by multiple men, but she got her shit together, or she finally came around and got herself together, and cats are still wifing. So we got brothers out here who are really holding it down, doing what they got to do, and then you got brothers like me who stay single but take care of their kids. You feel me? So it's just a lot of things that we gonna have to change in the narrative when it comes to talking about black men and how we love black women and how we date black women, and even the conversation we talk about dating outside the race, because a lot of it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's what I want to get the ladies to do tonight. And if y'all ladies want to go ahead and chime in on that question, feel free.
Okay. Well, actually, I think it has a lot to do with what's normalized around them. So, because what I've the men who come from married parents or come from families with a lot of successful marriages and communities that have have successful marriages, they're a lot more likely to get married than the ones that come from, single mothers or, really toxic relationships between mom and dad, families where, no one's married, everyone's out of wedlock. So, you get this whole culture of people, and it's normalized. You have babies with people you end up hating in 5 years, and that's normalized. You walk away from the first two baby moms and settle down with the third one, but then you don't marry her. That's normalized. So if you had a culture where it was normalized for you to get married, you would get married. And that's why you see the difference, say, in Canada, where it's very, very crystal clear, because we don't have such a high incidence mother homes. And it's crystal clear. The ones that have single moms and, dad's nowhere to be found, or the relationship with dad is toxic, they're still not settled down in their 30s and 40s. The ones like my husband, whose parents are still married 45 years later, 50 years later, from families like that, they wanted to get married in their early 20s to mid 20s. And, they were just looking for the right woman.
Lady Kendra?
I think a few factors play into it. I think overall the climate of our the climate of our society has sort of made marriage not as important as it once was. Um, is not an important relationship anymore. Uh, you kind of hit it on the head, brother, when you said not buying a cow when the milk is free. Why am I purchasing this cow? I can go over there and get milk anytime I want. Marrying it doesn't benefit me anymore. Um, I think that a lot of it has to do with shifting women's focus from wanting to be married young to wanting to pursue their career first. And I don't have a problem with getting your money, but the issue is that you pursue your career at a time where it's actually beneficial for you to um, more beneficial for you to get married, because you're pursuing your career in your most fertile young years, the years where a man would actually kind of trip over himself to get to you. And instead of grooming yourself and kind of priming yourself to get married in your 20s, you're busy going to school, racking up a body count, and trying to get your career off the ground, which doesn't really happen until after whatever college you're attending, and now you're a debt slave, and now you have to try to find a job if you can, because that degree doesn't guarantee anything. And along the way, you might have picked up a couple of kids, probably a couple of baby daddies, and you have wasted essentially the time. A woman's fertility is limited, which is the draw for men. Back when marriage was prime in the society, the first thing that you have to look at, 80 years ago, 60 years ago, however far you want to go back, first thing was it was shameful to have sex outside of marriage. You were looked at as a harlot if it was known that you had sex outside of marriage on a regular basis with however many guys. Okay? So we had at one point a society where marriage was beneficial for women and children. Okay? Women and children benefit from marriage more than men. The only reason men were getting married was because that was how you got access to women. You couldn't get access to women without marrying her, without courting her, meeting her family. If anybody's ever watched The Godfather, the first one, when Michael Corleone goes back to the old country and he sees that young lady, how does he go about marrying that young lady? He doesn't step to her. He does not go directly to that. He went to her father and he courted her with the family around, and then he married that girl. That sort of kind of used to be the way that we did it back when my mom got married and back when her mom got married. You know, men didn't need marriage in the same way that women did. Women need maintenance and protection, and that was the way to get it. Men wanted their lineage, okay? And then wealth can be built in families. So he marries her, and then she has his children. That's his lineage, okay? And the family can be built and it can be strong. Well, fast forward to 2017, that's not quite as important. And women waste their time. They waste their fertile years, they waste their beauty, racking up a body count instead of priming themselves to be married. So I know I'm being long winded and I hate to take up all of the time, but I'm gonna kind of wind this up to a point. The women now, black women now, have bought into the idea that they don't quite need men until they reach about 34. And then their head kind of gets on straight and they want that family. The biological clock is ticking. They want the family. They want the kids. They want the man. You know, their career either succeed or failed. And so now they kind of see the need to get all of this stuff. Well, you know, brothers aren't really checking for that real heavy. So you got some brothers that will. And then the other thing, I think a reason why men aren't really bending knees now to black women, and we're talking about black community, um, these women aren't really wifeable. The guys who are ready to get married, who are of that mindset, they're besieged by these women who just want to rule them, taught to rule our men in the black community. We're taught that. We're taught to kind of talk down at our men and snap our fingers at them and talk to them any kind of way, and they're not supposed to respond to that. And a lot of men, a man worth his salt, he doesn't want to go through that. So he'll rather just kind of screw it around with you. And then it's like, even if he had marriage dreams, they're kind of flushed down the toilet. And that's where you get sometimes the men that'll step out of his race to just to go find a woman that he can actually wife.
Hmm. Well, I believe that the reason why a lot of black men, and like Brother Jay Sean said, you know, most black men do end up marrying black women. I mean, that's just a statistical fact. But a lot of black men that aren't marrying, I think they're not marrying for very good reasons. Like Jay Sean was saying, I mean, a lot of women, you know, that are of marrying age, you know, they come with kids, they come with baggage, they come with baby daddies, they come with, you know, 200 extra pounds, you know, they come with a whole bunch of, they come with a whole bunch of extra stuff, you know, they come with a lot of stuff, you know, and that's a
This nigga
lot.
said 200 extra, not
They
200,
come,
200 extra.
yeah, they come with 200 extra pounds. So I mean, you know, if you're a guy, and I say this often, all right, and I'll go to the next round of questions, but I say this often. I say I feel sorry for young brothers who are coming up, and you know, they may be somewhere between the age of 20 and 25. They don't have any kids. They have their shit together. They got them a little apartment. They got them a car. They may even have went to college. They have a decent job, and they're looking, because there's brothers out there who are actually looking, who have been groomed to be a husband, and they're looking to build a life and have a wife and have a family. Unfortunately, though, a lot of these brothers, if they're looking for a woman, number one, who doesn't have kids, if they're looking for a woman who ain't carrying around an extra person, if they're looking for a woman who ain't combative, argumentative, toxic, just volatile, all of that kind of stuff, belligerent, if they're looking for a woman who doesn't have any of those categories, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to be looking outside of Black society, especially women that are in their age group. Because a brother that's like 25 years old, and like I said, he doesn't have any children or anything like that. He's probably got a decent job that he works, so his career path, he's on the way to his career path. He's 25. He has his own place. He has his own car. He's got a few bucks in the bank. He's a solid brother. So if he's looking to build something, it's going to be hard for him to build with a woman, number one, who has 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8 kids. I mean, there's nothing for him to build with. Okay, there's nothing for him to build with. It's also going to be hard for him to build with a woman who doesn't understand how to deal with the man. It's also going to be hard for him to build with a woman who's carrying 200 extra pounds, because unfortunately, okay, and these are statistics that I'm talking about. Statistically, 8 out of every 10 Black women, that's 80%, are either overweight or obese, right? And out of that 80%, out of that 80%, 80% of that 80% are morbidly obese, meaning one cupcake from a coronary, one hamburger from a damn heart attack. So,
God damn.
So when faced when faced
that nigga said one cupcake.
when
I'm sorry,
faced with these kind of hurdles, all right, this is leading into my next question, because I always lead into the next question. When faced with those kind of hurdles, say it was one of you ladies' brothers that I just described, that 25-year-old young man who has his shit together, has his own apartment, has his own car, has money in the bank, has no kids. When he comes to you and he says, sis, I want me a wife, what do you tell your young brother? What do you tell him? Do you tell him to go ahead and date the baby mama? Do you tell him to date the woman who at any minute, if she take a flight of steps, that's it, she's going right into cardiac arrest? Or do you tell him find someone outside of Black society? Given the stats that I have just given you ladies just now, whoever want to go first can. I told you these questions will be good.
Well, I actually have a younger brother who's he's 19.
Perfect.
And he just joined the military, so I would hope that he would find a sister in the military, but I tell him,
What branch?
he's in the Air Force.
Oh, you'll find one there.
Yeah. But yeah, I tell him to explore his options, and I tell him don't be quick to go with the big woman or the baby mama. Not unless it's like a total desperate situation.
If she's like the last woman on the island.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'd advise him to date out because my brother doesn't like white girls, so
Okay.
he might he has a thing for Latinas. I don't know.
Yeah, he's gonna be screwing a lot of different races in the Air Force. Trust me.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's in any branch of the military, really.
It's just that's what you're saying right there. Though, cats is just something that you know. I wish I could just scream out to the diaspora when you see men with other races of women, black men. It's mostly because of
Hmm.
access. We just half the time we just fucking them. But when you see athletes and movie stars and all that, they're at a different level of the game. They got top notch women of all races come. You know what I mean? Available to them. So you're going to see more of an influx. Like if we just separated
Yeah.
rock stars and movie stars from the rest of the population of men, you're going to see a higher percentage of men dating outside their race, right? Because they have access to more women. That's just how the world works. But unfortunately, our women, like what Kendra was saying, they are taught to disrespect us and look down on us. And what I'm about to say is really deep. If you look at white women, they don't make a big deal publicly about their men going around having sex with Asian women and African women and black women in America and all that because that's part of dominance.
Hmm.
That's part of dominance. That's part of ruling the world. His penis is supposed to be everywhere. That's part of ruling the world. And they understand it. And our sisters don't see us as a dominant figure. They don't want us to rule. So when you see us out there smashing top-notch women from Brazil or whatever, you're supposed to pop your collar. Like, you know what I mean? It's dominating. You're supposed to get insecure and be hate him and say, oh my God, he hates himself and all that. But then at the same time, applaud black women who do it the other way around. You see what I'm saying? It's a reverse thing. It's okay. Black women are coming up when they get a white boy. There's new hope. Like with the chick getting married in London, there's hope for black women. You know what I mean? So it's a reversal
Hmm.
in the black community. If you really step back and look at the mentality, how people celebrate things, how they word things, how they talk about things. But if you look at other races of women, like right now in China, there's a lot of China dick fucking a lot of African pussy right now. All right, and
Hmm.
China women ain't bitching about it. You know why? Because they are making geo moves, geopolitical moves around the world, economic moves around the world, and part of that is sex, is marrying in and having sex with the women of foreign countries, and you know what I mean. That's part of the game. That's what men are supposed to do. But our
Mm-hmm.
men are treated like boys, and like I said this on Engelman's channel, really what it boils down to, X, is this: how dare you? Who the fuck this nigga think he is?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it boils
Hmm.
down to. Who does he think he is? What's this boy? Who that nigga on the net? You know what I mean? That's what it boils down to. And it's frustrating because when you look at the numbers, we still holding it down, and to get discredited when we should be getting the most credit because, like Kendra was saying, man, there's women like you were saying, there's women out here who got mad baggage, and we still wifing them because we naturally want to be with our women. We want black children. That's a natural thing. But if you a basketball player, and you out in the club and you out on the boat, or you at a business function, and some badass Bolivian chick or Colombian chick walk up to you, ain't turning that down.
Mm-mm.
Pookie and Ray Ray can't get her. You know what I mean? So what are we talking about? You know?
Exactly.
So anyway, that's all I gotta say. So and the same thing's gonna happen in the military with your brother. He's gonna have access to different women. You know what I mean? That he never had access to before. So there's a chance that he might, you know, fall in love with somebody of the opposite race. It happens. But
Yeah.
that's all because he has access now. He didn't have access before. You had the roundaway girls. Maybe there was some diversity in your neighborhood, but he didn't have. There's a lot of different women in the Air Force. There's white girls from Iowa, another white chick from fucking Maine. Then there's like a half, you know, hopper, you know what I mean? Like half Asian white chick from, Florida. They going to be all types of different females when you get into the military. It is a mix of people. So that's why you see a lot of interracial dating in the military. But don't be surprised if you come home with a white chick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Next up.
Well,
Okay, well I'll go.
Oh,
I had
So
a
I'll have to play the cricket sound
okay.
effect.
who first?
Go ahead.
Okay. Um, well, see, the thing is, the way that I see it is this. So any brother, cousin, good friend, whatever of mine deserves the best. So I would never tell anyone I love, and this male or female, to lower your standards and just accept anything, because that number of everything, any of the negative things, is not 100%.
Hmm.
So what I would do is I would take a good look at them and do this first. So if they 100%, I would encourage them to get to their 100% first, because that's going to ensure for them that when they meet that girl that's at 100%, that, you know what I mean, they're on par. So that would be the first thing I would do for him. But then what I would do is I would tell him, like, no, you don't need to be with that isn't up there, who isn't at your level. You deserve better than that. And in my family, at least, there one side of my family does not have a lot of marriage, like, at all. One side of my family is all marriages. So kind of have both. And I would say, our uncles, your father, or even people on our level who are married, and you need to get advice from those men. What did how did they go about it? Because they found themselves good wives, and you deserve a good wife, right? And maybe it has to do with the pool that you're. Sometimes it's about recognizing that your neighborhood or your 10 city blocks, those places you go to all the time, that's not the whole world. Not necessarily like the women in that part of town. So you might need to broaden your horizons if you're living somewhere where the people in your community are not on par with you. Just because the people in your community are not on par with you does not mean that's your only pool. Like, where my husband lived was in the hood. I live like half an hour away from him. Never would have met him. He decided to go to the internet. That's where you know what I mean? Because his standards were like high. He didn't have low standards. He didn't want some hood chick, or some girl who had 3 babies and never life. That's not what he wanted. So he went looking for what he wanted. If it has to be on the internet, if it's about you taking trips places, it doesn't matter. You need to go. Maybe you need to go and visit other places first, just to see what other women are really like. Go visit Canada, go visit Africa, go visit the Caribbean, just go visit places, and even other states, and just go see what women are like everywhere, so that way you can get a personal experience that's bigger and better about women, other than your limited experience, if the experience that you have around you are those women that are not desirable and ideal. So that's what I would be telling anybody that, a loved one of mine, about finding a wife, because I believe in marriage. So, and I believe that marriage is good. And what, marriage can be a great thing, and people who have children can be great too, but they need to find someone on their level. So you've got a few kids, and maybe you made some mistakes in life and now you've reformed. Well, you got to find someone on that level too, who's made a few mistakes, maybe got started in life a little early and is now reformed. So they're going to find something good for them. And if my little brother, my little cousin, I don't have a brother, but my little cousin or whatever was there, that's what I would tell them.
Okay. Lady Kendra. Lady Kendra.
Sorry, I was talking on mute again. Talking on mute again. I'm sorry. You quick with that cricket finger,
Yeah,
brother. You
yeah.
fast with the cricket finger.
It's a
Okay.
new sound effect that I've been messing with. So.
So yeah, I used to tell my little brother and give him advice about women. He didn't have any children, so I told him he doesn't have to settle for a woman that does. Um, since he doesn't have any, he doesn't have to get her, and he doesn't have to. settle for her baby daddy drama because he's not bringing prior children to the table. My brother was very bright, very handsome, very creative, but he had his own ideas. So the thing that I told him was, listen, make your list of what you want in a woman. If she can check off most of that stuff, the most important stuff, and it's one or two check boxes that she can't check off, you might still want to deal with her. For instance, if you want a woman with a certain mindset, she's down with your program, what you want to do. She's a nice looking lady. She doesn't have any prior children and all of this other crazy baggage, and she's 50 pounds overweight. I said you might want to deal with her because weight can be lost. She can lose that 50 pounds. That's changeable. It's not so changeable if she's an 8 or 9. She got a body like a Coke bottle, but she got a crazy mentality. She's crazy. She gonna drive you crazy with
Story of my
foolishness.
life.
So if she's gonna be foolish and you're looking for wife, now if you're just messing around with her, that's one thing. But wife material is different because just like there are really good black men and they sort of fly under the radar a little bit, same thing with the good black women. They fly under the radar a little bit. She might be the plain Jane, not ugly. I'm not saying he got to settle for the monster out of the Black Lagoon just because he's looking for a black woman, a good woman. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? She might be, she can clean up real good. And I was coming from that perspective with him because I was that girl. Very
Hmm.
good woman. I clean up well. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Um, and he would have to kind of broaden where he is. You can't always find that chick around in the hood. Get your money up, travel a little bit, find other communities, other women, you know what I'm saying, that you can deal with it and just kind of get a feel for these other people. He wasn't so much attracted to white girls. He liked Latinas, um, and he liked black women, Latinas, and Asian women.
Hmm.
So I told him, if you get your money up and get your weight up, you can kind of, go. But he didn't end up. He never got married.
All right. Let me ask you ladies this. What do you ladies think about what do you think about polygamous situations where a man has uh 3 wives, 4 wives? And would you women, well, I know most of the unicorns are married, but would you women ever consider, it's a two-part question. What do you think about multiple wives to one man? And would you be willing to be one of those multiple wives to a man?
I probably can go first on that. As a Muslim, that's part of the belief system. Muslim men can have up to 4 wives. Um, so polygyny is not a foreign concept to me. As a matter of fact, polygyny was a the norm for marriage. Monogamy is a Judeo-Christian construct, which is fairly new. Polygyny was actually the norm, and monogamy was kind of, you know, practiced less so. And historically, that was because men would go off to war, things like that, and it was beneficial to the society at large for the men to marry the women so that the children would not be orphans and that the women would not have to be the derelicts of society. Um, as far as my personal situation of being married, I actually was trying to get my husband married at one point because I wasn't able to have kids and I wanted him to have children. But he never did it.
Wait, 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 wait,
Uh,
wait, 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 wait. Maybe I'm not hearing this right. You said I don't mean to interrupt you, Lady Kendra, because you know you fire. I love listening to you, but I gotta press the rewind button on this one. You said that you were trying to find your husband another wife. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Because
And
Yeah,
Is he still there?
I think he dropped off.
Oh.
Okay, it wasn't just me. I thought it was my internet. It's been playing games all day.
And we do BGS. You need more bars.
Yeah.
okay, what happened?
Oh, there we go.
There you go,
Okay,
bro. You
you
dropped off,
there?
bro.
Welcome
I
back,
did?
Brother X. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
for a
was off?
second.
Oh, that was me
Mm-hmm.
off. I'm thinking somebody else had cut off. That was my ass off. Um
Like
la-
BGS would say, you need more bars, X.
yeah, right. Lady Kendra, you still there? Lady Kendra? Did we lose Lady Kendra?
She might have the mic muted.
No,
Oh yeah, she dropped off.
no.
She has something
No.
interesting to say too.
Yes, man. Please, Lady Kendra, come back as soon
She
as you
probably
can.
still talking too right now.
Yeah, because
She probably still
her
don't know it.
mic is not muted. Mic is not muted. Okay, well, I'll shoot the question. Maybe she just experienced some technical difficulties. I'll shoot the question to the next person.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
So, um, the way I feel about polygamy is that it's not too far fetched because of what's going on in the black community. Um, in America today, like you have a lot of women who really they I'm not gonna say they don't mind man sharing, but they do it. Like they'll have children with like the same guys. Like for example, in Tennessee, they have like three guys in one neighborhood who have like 100 kids among them, the three of them. So they're literally sleeping with every
you have,
woman.
yeah. So,
Yeah, they're sleeping
but
with every woman in the neighborhood.
but
So
the
those women,
Islamic concept is rather strict.
Oh, Lady
So
Kendra, you back now? Are you
I'm
back?
sorry. Did you not hear
No, you
anything?
had.
I was talking away.
I know.
I
I know,
told
but you.
y'all. I
Oh,
told y'all.
No,
yeah.
we had a signal problem, and I didn't know nothing until Brother Jay Shine said something. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I thought you had just dropped off, and Jay Shine was like, "Oh man, she done dropped. You know, you dropped off X, and then you dropped off right after that. So you were talking this whole time."
Like I was going 40 going over. Like,
No, all right, all right, all right, all right.
Kendra was preaching.
Damn.
Well, hold on,
Oh
hold on, hold
no.
on. All right, hold on, Lady Cats. Hold on, hold that thought. Because
all right.
I had actually asked Lady Kendra something because she said that she was trying to find her husband a wife, right? So I had to stop her
yeah.
there and I asked her, I said, well, how did you go about it? Did you introduce him to someone? Did you bring somebody in front of him? Did you say, well, go here? You know, just fill us in. Just say what you were saying, but we didn't hear you. Just
Basically, it never got as far as me actually finding it because that's a discussion. And it's
uh,
not one discussion, it's several. Because I was trying to gauge what he wanted and where we're going to find another sister. Um, so, talking to him back and forth about it, of course, as a man, he likes the idea of having another woman. Um, but his the Islamic structure of polygyny is very strict. He would have to have enough money to take care of her to the same level that he is taking care of me without depriving me of anything.
mm.
And he, once you crunch the numbers, they don't lie. And he's like, I don't know that I would be able to take care of another woman, especially if I intend on having children with her, which is the point of him getting another woman, is to have kids, because I couldn't have them.
Mm-hmm.
So he did end up meeting one sister who he wanted me to meet, but she never. It was like we could never hook up. I think she was dodging me personally, but we never could like just meet up or talk, or whatever, because my interest in the whole situation is I just want to make sure she's not crazy. Because you're not gonna run my husband crazy, then he come back over to me stressed.
Mm.
You're not gonna do that to him. You're gonna have some sense. Now I'm not gonna butt into y'all relationship, but I want to make sure you're not gonna be crazy. Because you'll be a Muslim sister, and then that's all fine and good, but I still don't want you to be crazy. So, but it never really got off the ground for financial reasons.
Okay.
And so he was just like, you know what, that's okay. And then he was like, at the same time, I don't know if I could get another you, because she's going to be held to a high standard because I'm being treated well. And I'm not going to accept a woman that isn't treating me to the level that you're treating me.
Mm. So if okay, if he was willing, then I'm going to move on. I'm gonna move on to Lady Katz. So if he was willing, if well, let me say this: if he was able to support both of you, say he was able to support four of you, because in the Muslim country, in the Muslim culture, the man can have four wives, correct?
Yes.
So if he was able to support all four of you Muslim women, is it necessary that all four of you get along? Do y'all all have to get along, or is it that he just has to be able to take care of y'all all? Do y'all have to all be like friend, like buddy wuddy palsy wowsy type?
That's the ideal, for all the wives to get along, and then they can help, rear the children, and they can help, be a completed unit. That's the ideal, but it's not necessary.
Mm,
So if I don't necessarily get along with her, my best bet is to stay out of her face.
mm,
And she can stay out of mine. And we don't, the thing about it is to not cause trouble in
mm,
each other's relationship, because each one of us would have our own relationship with him.
okay.
So my marriage to him would be different and carried differently than Sister B's relationship to him. They might have a different dynamic. So if he has four, one of us is going to be his favorite, but
Mm,
he's obliged not to tell us which one, because that
okay.
creates jealousy in women, because that's just the nature of women. um, and but his treatment of us should be such that we can't tell which one of us is his favorite.
Okay.
It
So
should be equal.
so being that you're the first wife, you would be the boss of the other wives, right? Would you be like the boss? Would you be like, I don't know. Would you be like the head wife?
No,
Okay.
no. Islamically speaking, all of us are equally his wives. We equally have rights. All of our rights are the same.
Okay.
So even though I've been his wife longer, that doesn't give me necessarily any precedence or any prestige over the other women. However he treats me, he should be treating them the same. And as a matter of fact, if he was married to another woman and I saw that he was treating her to a lesser degree than he was treating me, I would call him on it.
Mm,
Hey,
okay.
that's the difference between how Europeans do it versus how Africans do it. Because if you look at Mormon culture and when Europeans do polygamy, they have a first wife, and
Mm,
they, you know what I mean. So in that economy, when you have a first wife, she's pretty much like the madam that keeps the rest of the harem in line. So it's more of a pimp type thing versus where the man's in charge and the women, are equal.
yeah, it's
You
interesting that you
know,
say that, brother Jay Sean, because I was gonna say the same thing. Like in the Mormon culture, the guy, he's got like the however many wives, and the first wife is the boss and also kind of nonsense.
yeah.
But back to you. Lady Cats, because you was in the middle of answering the question. I don't know if you heard me, Lady Classic, what I had asked the other unicorns. But
Yes, I did.
oh, okay. Well, go ahead, Lady Cats. You up?
Okay, so as I was saying, it's not a far-fetched idea from what's going on right now. I would have to say if you were going to do it, it would have to be a lot like how Kendra described it, where everybody would have to be taken care of. That's the only difference I would see from what's going on right now, where you know, say like if you're in the projects and all the women are pregnant by the same guy, they're pretty much all living off the system. That would be different. That would be the only difference to me. Um, Personally speaking, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little selfish. So I don't know if I want to share my man, but that's about it. Yeah.
So that would be a no for you. You wouldn't want to be one of the five wives. Um, Lady
Nah.
Classic. Lady, what's your idea of polygyny, and would you be willing to be, one of the 50 wives?
It's funny. We had this question, a similar one on, I think it was BGS for women. Like, if you, like, literally, there were so few men in the world that we had no choice but to share men, would you? And so I said I would if I was the first wife, and that just had more to do with the fact that, to me, a polygynous relationship can only work. I feel like there needs to be a head or like a boss, and it would be me. And then there would be each new wife we brought on would fill a specific role.
So you'd have to be the boss, huh?
Well, yeah, because I
God
yes, I
damn.
would. But like, so we would have, there are things that I'm strong in, and then I that I really like doing. And so I wouldn't want, wife number 2 or 3 or however many we have to just be strong and like doing the same things I do, right? I feel like in this concept of, like the sister wives, we should each play a role and play it well and be happiest doing those things. So beneficial to our husband to have, the different amount of wives, but it's also beneficial to us as women. No, we don't have to be, best friends, but let's say I'm the one who likes to cook, and wife number 2 really likes to clean, and wife number 3 at, playing with the children, or whatever. So we all have different roles that we would fulfill, and it would make life easier and more enjoyable for. So that would be how, like, I would see a polygynous relationship. And I think it's Brother Polite, and he has like a polygynous uh relationship. He has, I think, 4 or 5 wives or
Yeah, he
something.
does. Yeah, he's got like four.
Yeah, exactly. And I listened to his interview that he did with the Jesse Lee Peterson a little while ago. And you know what? It sounds functional for them because they see it, and a lot of it has to do with business and money and combining finances and creating those shared children. And some of them have children, some of them don't, but they see it as a shared wealth thing. And so when you're looking at marriage, a business transaction first with some benefits on the side, I think that works because there are some people in this world who monogamy is sure. And the more they try to conform to monogamy, the more miserable they'll be, or the more miserable they'll make their spouse because they're going to forever cheat and then hide. And so all of that is going to take away from whatever benefit they could have being married together. So I think it's a valid of marriage. It's not, with all that being said, it's not one for me. It's not necessarily about or whatever. It's just, for me, part of sleeping with a man, for example, has to do with monogamy. I want to trust where you've been and you know what you have or not or whatever. And I would rather you be honest. I would rather a polygynous relationship than a guy who cheats every once in a blue moon but lies to me about it. But with that being said, I ideally would want, because I would prefer a monogamous relationship with someone else who prefers to be monogamous.
Mm. So let me ask you ladies this, and I guess you can chime in on this too, Brother Jay Sean. What do you think? What do you ladies think? Because I know y'all are married to black men. I mean, I've never seen your husbands, but I'm assuming y'all are married to black men. What do you ladies think? Black men. What do you think of black men as a member of this society, as a person in American life, as a person in a whole? What do you ladies think of black men? And I'm talking about black men in the aggregate, not your husband, because obviously your husband's special to you because you're married to him. But I'm talking about black men in general. What do you women think of black men? And I'll
Um,
start with whoever
I,
wants to go first.
I'll jump on it. I like my brothers. I love my brothers. Um, I think that black men, especially in America, because I can't speak to any other experiences, I think they have such an uphill battle to fight. And it amazes me sometimes that they can sort of, as a collective, keep almost a positive um, outlook to a certain degree on things. You know, they've got the high incarceration rates to contend with. Many of our men are behind bars, many for very minor misdemeanor things, you know, not even for violent crimes or murders or rapes or things of that nature. And it's like this country, you know, they can't stand to see a black man without a felony on his record for whatever reason. And so that actually is not an abstract problem. That's a real problem that a lot of black men face, because if you're a con or an ex-con, then there are a lot of things that you can't do. And one of those things is finding gainful employment a lot of times, even when they want to be entrepreneurial. Um, I think that for black men, and I can only speculate about it because obviously I've never walked in a black man's shoes. I didn't grow up in this country as a black man, but seeing my brothers, seeing my father, you know, have to dodge gangs, have to dodge. It's so many pitfalls for them to dodge, and the collective thought on black men um, is that you know, the stereotype. He's some type of criminal, or he's just dumb, or you know, he's just kind of up to no good. He's a deadbeat dad. You know, he's a gang member, or whatever the case may be. And I think that a lot of times we overlook the guys who do have entrepreneurial spirit, or they're very bright, or they're very creative, or whatever talents they may have that don't include a football or a basketball. And then they still manage to have almost this positive sort of outlook. They're not angry all the time, which is a stark contrast to black women who are consistently angry despite kind of having the leg up, if you want to call that, in society. We don't have it as hard to find jobs, to go to school, and those sorts of things. So I actually admire my brothers for trying to still function as men in a society that does not see them as men.
Okay.
Oh man, man, you got a PayPal or something? God damn.
I'm telling you, man. She deep as Atlantic Ocean, but I'm telling you, she's fire. She is
I mean, between her and Classic Ruby, man, fuck.
fire, man. Fire. I'm telling you, this team is hardcore, man. Do not sleep on the Unicorn 4. Do not sleep. Do not sleep, man. I'm telling you.
Man, they give me hope, man. They
Yeah,
give they give me hope because her and Classic Ruby are married.
I,
Cass is young. She's not married yet. It shit gives me hope, man. Hearing sisters talk like this, man. They really
yeah.
do.
Well, you're only listening to three of them tonight, brother Jay Shine, because Ming isn't here. She's not here because it's four of them, and Ming couldn't make it
Oh,
tonight. So I
excuse
mean,
me, Oracle. I'm sorry, Oracle. Excuse me, Oracle.
that's good. but I'm saying, brother, it's usually four of them. So you got to tune in, like on these Thursdays, man. It be going down. It goes down.
Okay, I'm
It
I'm
goes
interested. I
down.
gotta hear Ming, man. I never heard Ming talk before.
Yeah,
So
she part of the
I'm interested.
unicorn. She's part of the unicorn four, man. She is.
Okay.
Um, who want to go next? You cats, Lady Classic.
I'll go next. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I think black men are the coolest men on earth, and I think that they hold a lot of their composure simply because of how they have to deal with being the most targeted people. I just, at the same time, I feel like really bad for a lot of black men because it's like, again, they're targeted in like the prison systems of child support, they're targeted even in schools. And it's like a lot of these people, they kind of just brush off the plight of black men, especially within our own community, like with a lot of black women. Recently, BGS Edmore did a video about the Black Lives Matter and how it was everything that like a lot of people suspected they were, which was like a feminist group. Really, it wasn't really for black men. They just used the deaths of black men to um you know give their platform some sort of cause, which is kind of messed up.
Hmm.
And you know you have like on Roland Martin's show the other day, there was some girl on there trying to say all black men were rapists and stuff. And she's a part of that whole Black Lives Matter group. But at the same time, you want to say, "Oh, we're fighting for you," and da 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 da. So it kind of just shows how opportunistic like a lot of people in our community can be, and it's kind of messed up. And you know, I'm like surprised at how many black men still are able to have hope after this kind of stuff is going on. So that's why, you know, I kind of I kind of admire how much they hold their composure under this type of pressure, because it's like with us with black women, we'll see a commercial and lose our minds, you know,
Hmm.
you know. So yeah.
Lady Classic.
Well, I think the thing is, because I can speak on Black men, in Canada and in Jamaica primarily, because that's my actual experience. Know about Black America, I've just been learning over the past few months, online from you guys. So, it might everyone else's perspective for that reason. But, for me, Black men have always been the ones that just they're natural everything, like the natural finesse, natural strength, natural natural power, natural charisma, and we are almost trained from early childhood to either or to be jealous of it and want to kick it out of others, or to not even recognize that those are positive things. Your natural charisma and charm, and you're told you're manipulative, or that you're playing games when it's actually a natural strength. So I think as a result you have a lot of Black men who don't really know and understand, and that's what you're seeing a lot of, especially in the millennial generations. You're seeing a lot of men who are not understanding just their raw magnetism and power that they have just by existing. You don't have to do anything extra. You don't have to be like the guy in the video or be a star or whatever. The second you can hone in and harness who you are, Black men, unlike any other race, they just have it. It's just natural. It doesn't matter if they're short or tall, or they're big and brawny, or they're skinny or whatever. Like, they just have it. And so, like, to me, when I look at Black men, it's like a natural thing. When I look at white men, and I live around a lot of them, they're there. They're just people, but when a Black man comes around, like, there's a natural thing inside of me that kind of makes me want to stand up a little straighter, and I kind of, draw my breath in just a tiny bit, and it doesn't even matter his age and whatever, because they just naturally have that within them. So, like, to me, Black man is like power.
All right, I gotta leave, man. I gotta go. I can't take this. Yeah, you're not gonna have me crying in here tonight, man. I'm out, man.
Oh,
This
brother,
is too much, man. This
brother,
is
this
too
shot
much,
is
nigga.
like too much.
Can
I
I
ain't got
jump
no
in on the
brother.
back of that?
Go ahead,
I'm gonna
go
jump
ahead.
in on the back of that, Ruby, and I'm gonna agree with you. I'm telling you, it ain't nothing like a Black man that's got his
Mm-hmm.
stuff together, because he is the picture of manhood. When you wanna think of manhood and you wanna think of ultimate masculinity, what they put on the screen, a Black man.
Mm-hmm.
A strong, typically a dark skinned Black man that's
Mm-hmm.
probably a little muscular. And our Black men don't even have to fit that criteria to carry the type of swag. Listen, these other men out here may have more political power. They may have even more economic power to a certain degree, but they are all still, I believe, jealous of Black men. They're jealous of Black men's athleticism. When you listen, because I watch sports, I watch football. I'm a big football fan. When I listen to those announcers and they be talking about the men on the field, they always, oh man, he's so athletic. Oh man, look at that catch. Oh man, look at that throw. Look at that run. And it's almost like you can hear I wish I was like them. I know I can't be like them. And then it's like when you see Black men are beautiful, just physically, I mean, too. Like,
Yep.
Black men are beautiful. We got some fly ass men. Let me just tell you, we got some fly ass men, and that's why I'm so disappointed in Black women, because we got some fly dudes, man. Why aren't we, like Ruby said, stand your back up a little straighter? I look for
Mm-hmm.
the approval of Black men. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Even a tacit approval. Like, I don't want Black men to think I'm low. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even care what white men think. I don't care what Asian men think. I don't care what nobody. I care about what Black men think, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to ride in on the back of that. Like, we got some fly dudes. And it's
Exactly.
a high time we start appreciating them dudes, because our Black men, it's a reason why other women want them so bad, even without all of this super duper world power, political, you know what I'm saying? Women still be coming for Black men. It's a reason for that, because they man ain't got that swag. And when I
Mm-hmm.
say swag, I'm not talking about no gang bang stuff. I'm talking about just that confidence and just that aura about
Yep.
them. Black men are very, very special. Black women could be special if we understood and embraced our womanhood, but we too busy rejecting it. So,
Hmm.
we don't have that kind of mystique.
And it's funny, Kendra, because you just brought it up that it's like, well, white men, oh, they have the economic power, this power. You know why they have that, and they focus so hard on that, and they to give a drop of it to a black man and allow a black man to hold on to a drop of what he's earned, because they know that if they stop trying to unlevel the playing field, there's no competition for a black man. There's no contest. If a black man who has, he knows himself, so you know what, he knows his power and he's gone for it, and he's economically stable and powerful, and on top of that he's just him, for him. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why, especially the white man is so terrified, because he's not the true leader of anything. You know what I mean? You have Asians who are true leaders in something. White man knows that he's just literally kind of taking off the backs of a lot of other people, and then they found a way of being manipulative and destructive, can use that, but they know that they don't inherently have anything, right? And that's why they are so scared of the black man, because the black man would decimate them if they weren't so heavily oppressed.
Right. And that's the purpose of putting them under such a disadvantage because they know the deal. You know what I'm saying? This is why they get so angry. And I like using the NFL in its current state as sort of a microcosm for that. The white owners who could never have played a down of football, mind you, want so badly to be able to tell these black men what to do,
Mm-hmm.
stop kneeling, stop protesting, and the brothers won't stop doing it. And I feel like a heart swell when I see them brothers like, boy, you don't know your power. They jealous of you. It's a reason why the system is in place the way it is. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason for that. When we can look back in our history at places like Black Wall Street and realize that black men built that with half the resources and none of the privileges, that a lot of these systems and industries are built on the talent and the intellect of black men and the creativity. They wouldn't have half the music they got. They wouldn't have the style. They wouldn't have the panache. You know, this is why you have people like wiggers and they want to try to use the slang and, even that kind of stuff they like to pilfer. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's like, if we let a black man loose and just leave him to his own devices and don't have all these shackles on him, you know what I'm saying? They know, and when I say they, I mean white daddy. He knows that he's inferior in a lot of ways. I personally think that collectively and kind of historically, they've had almost a like a homoerotic fixation on black men,
Oh yeah.
and they got a home. It's almost like, man, I want to be you so bad, but I hate you, but I kind of respect your butt, but I hate you too. And it's like, they got a love hate. I want to go so far as to say love, but they got a haters and a hate relationship with black men, if that makes any sense.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That's because the black man is great. He's great. Um, we coming around to the last 20 minutes of the show. So what I'm going to do is I want to ask a few quick questions, and I want y'all to be honest. All right, which I know y'all are going to be. Every one of you ladies that sit on this panel, this unicorn panel, explained, you know, what y'all think of black men. But as y'all know, because y'all on the internet just like I am, y'all know that's not really the running narrative coming from women, from black women. Y'all know that's not the running narrative. That's what makes y'all unicorns, because y'all different from that. So let me ask y'all this. Why do you ladies think that black women, I know what I think, but I want to hear what y'all think. Why do you think that black women have the animus towards black men in today's society the way that they do? Whoever want to go first can go.
Hmm.
He gonna hit that
Okay.
cricket button. I don't care
Yeah,
what's going on.
I'm playing crickets. You know what I'm saying? That. I just like hitting that cricket button. Go ahead. Whoever want to go, go ahead.
Well, I think it goes back to, I guess, not having the same privileges that I guess other groups of women per would be perceived to have had. You know, like when you hear feminists complaining about how, their men wanted them barefoot and pregnant, and then you hear black women tell their side of the story. They're all like, well, I've always had to work. I've never really gotten to be a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home this or that. They want that privilege, and they just look at white women and be like, well, what you complaining for and stuff. But at the same time, I also think that a lot of black women um, want to be empowered. It's like it's a weird kind of schism that goes on. It's like they want to be Miss Anne, but at the same time they want to be in power. Like they want to control everything, but because like Miss Anne, she has a husband who controls everything. She wants to be both Miss Anne and the husband. So yeah. I also think it's a lot of self hate. Just they don't like black men because a lot of black women in America just don't like being black, period. So I think that they see black men and have a hatred because they really hate themselves. That's the reason why they always talk about um getting with other groups of men to have light skinned babies and to have good hair and all that. So I think it's a mixture of those things.
I agree.
Um, I think that I agree with Kat as well. It is a weird kind of mixture. The narrative has been going on for quite a while, and black women still today have not understood how um, the feminist movement coupled with the welfare movement exacerbated an underlying sort of uh, disappointment in black men. She sees herself as low on the totem pole, and she does not believe that black men have the power to raise her any higher. She doesn't trust him to do that. She doesn't trust that he can because she doesn't see him as having any power. So, how can you help me be raised in the society to a certain level if you don't have that level? And she hasn't realized, and the generations of women haven't realized how, like I said, the feminist movement, the welfare movement, making that so available for women who basically rewarding bad behavior of having children out of wedlock and things of that nature, um, and sort of making the black man financially obsolete to her. If I can have some kids and go and get food stamps and go and get WIC and go and get Section 8 and go, what do I really need a man for? We're gonna go back to that line of thinking. I don't need a man. That's where it comes from. She doesn't mean she doesn't need to have sex with a man. She means that he is unable to come in and be financially relevant to her situation. And she doesn't trust him to be able to say, let me cut myself off from, you know, suckling from the teat of white supremacy and feminism and, and government assistance, and trust my man to take care of me and our children. She doesn't trust them. So there's a lack of trust between coming from the black woman to the black man. And a lot of black women can't see that because it's subconscious. It's a subconscious distrust of him. She doesn't trust that he's a maintainer and a provider. So it's easier to parrot a narrative than it is to kind of open your eyes and see what's really happening in front of you and let that change your perspective. The cognitive dissonance is very real because she can have a good man in front of her and still run that narrative. So, I just think that underneath it all, black women don't really trust black men. And that's why you hear a lot of stuff, a lot of them say, well, don't be worried about our weave and don't be worried about, go worry about white supremacy. Go defeat him and then you come back to me and then I'll submit to that. But until then, I'll submit to him.
Lady
I've
Classic.
actually seen them.
Oh, go ahead. You're not finished? Go ahead.
Oh, no. She could go because I'll run my mouth for the last few minutes of the show.
Go ahead, Lady Classic.
All right. Well, I don't disagree with the other ladies. I think to me, the major issue is that it's not really about black men. They're making it about black men. They're doing on the surface, but really it has to do with self. So it has a lot to do with a lack of self-esteem. They hate themselves, as lady said, and so they hate blackness. They want to, for them, I idealize and idolize, and the closer to white, the closer to right. So you want to lighten up your kids, you want to whiten up yourself in ways. And even if you don't think you're intentionally doing it, it's a subconscious drive that's telling you that you are inferior for being black. Everyone else who's black is as you are. So therefore, if you get whiteness, then that's telling you that you've made it. So I think that's part of it. And then I think you also have the lack of onus or accountability, where people, I don't know came from, but if we were back in the 1960s and you were saying, oh well, I need a man to take care of me, and you have to that as a man, that'd be one thing. But we're turning around and saying it's 2017 and I have the rights to everything, and I have the rights to this and equal that, and I want to work, and I'm an independent woman, and this and that. So where are you getting it confused then, that it's someone else's for you to be happy, for you to be secure, for you to be financially stable, and why are you blaming everyone else for your life up until the point where you meet them, right? He didn't meet you 10 years ago when you got yourself into the place you're at now. He met you today. You can't expect someone to solve all of your life's problems and all of your previous mistakes that you've made. But this is a thing that is happening with women, and I'll say especially the young women in the millennial age, where they have no accountability. They think everyone else is responsible for taking care of them. They think it's everyone else. They think that they can always blame someone else. And at the end of the day, even when they know that they did it, well, it's still someone else's problem to resolve for them, to make it better for them. And yeah, I think the welfare system is not helping, certainly, and systems like that, because there's literally this thing where everyone's entitled to everything, and you're not entitled to anything. You got life, lucky you. God could take it away tomorrow, to anything else.
All right. You ladies, you own a company, right? You're all black women. You own a company. Two men walk in there. One's a white man that may be a little bit more skilled, and a black man who may not be as skilled as the white man, who do you hire?
Mm.
Sorry, could you repeat
Okay.
the question?
You own a company. Two men walk in there for a job. One's a white man. He's a little bit more skilled than the black man. Who do you hire?
I'll probably still hire the brother, give him a chance since he is the last to get hired.
Okay. Lady Kendra. Oh, Lady Kendra's gone. She done disappeared. Lady Classic.
Um, honestly,
Be
it
honest.
depends. Honestly, it depends because I believe in, a meritocracy for real.
Mhm.
So I'm not one to give handouts, but at the same time, I evaluate more than just skill or your previous work history. I look at everything. So I would be looking at more than just, oh, well, he has 3 years experience, you only have 2, or he made it to X level, you only made it here.
Would you hire the black man? Would you hire the
I
black man?
I would, depending on other factors, though. That's what I'm saying. I would look at more than just experience. So it depends. If he was the one that overall, with everything other than just experience, had more merit, then I would hire him.
Okay.
In that case, I'm not looking at race, right? I'm literally looking at merit. Who literally combined from the people skills to the life experience to the job experience to the natural proficiencies, whatever, who has it all, who overall gets a higher score. That's what I look at.
Okay. Lady Kendra, did you hear the question?
I dropped off because somebody called me. So what was the question again? We got a business and a black man
Okay.
and a white man walks in, and then what?
The white man is a little bit more skilled than the brother. Who do you hire?
Oh, if I got a business, I'm hiring a brother.
Okay.
It would have to be, and he would have to be egregiously less qualified
Okay.
for me not to hire him because I believe in building if I'm going to build a business to the point where I'm hiring employees, then I'm going to hire black people first. That's just code. They would have to, I wouldn't just hire them because they're black. I mean, of course, yeah, you're going to have some experience, something that I can justify hiring you, for this position. But other people have a code. They stay on code, and I gotta stay on code. I know how difficult it is, and as a matter of fact, I probably would, depending on the business that I'm running, probably would look for black men who had a conviction on their record that can't find a gainful employment and hire them.
Okay. Well, the reason why I asked that question because I want to finish the night up because we coming around to the last like 9-10 minutes of the show. I wanted to finish with asking you ladies about your prejudices. What prejudices do you think you have yourself personally as far as a black man is concerned, whether good or bad? I'm not just talking about because prejudices don't necessarily have to be bad. You can have good prejudices too. And if you have them, what are they?
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
Are we talking about just with black men?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I would
I got
probably.
prejudices. Okay, go ahead, Kat. I'm sorry.
No, you can go.
I have prejudices against the so-called Pookies and Ray Rays of our community. I don't like it. When I see them coming, I steer clear because they usually have. I just don't like the way in which they carry themselves. I don't like the behavior. I treat them like I treat ratchet black women. I avoid them like the plague.
Okay.
Because I feel like they make good black men feel look bad. They cast a bad light on black men who don't subscribe to the low life, low hanging fruit. So the first thing is because everybody when they look at people, they make snap judgments. Everybody does it. It's not a secret. So if I see a black dude and I can smell the weed on him from a block away, and his pants are down around his ankles, I really have a bad judgment of him, especially if he looks like he's in his late 30s or 40s, because you're too old for that. And I feel like, what have you been doing with yourself? You know what I'm saying? And this is me talking, and I'm aware of where we come from, the communities we come from, the ills that we go through. And it's like, but a lot of other black men don't subscribe to, just give up and just be a product of their environment. So I don't really like it. I don't really like I said, I treat that group of black men like I treat ratchet black females. I just avoid them.
Okay. Who wants to go next? Lady Cats.
Okay, so I'd say I'd have a prejudice against those who, I guess, certain black men who will be like super hyper individualistic, and they'll be like, well, I made it, so uh why can't these guys make it? And, they just wanna they don't want to take other things into consideration with why, like, how black men are targeted. So yeah, they'll just, you know excuse all that. Like, I have a prejudice against that. I have a prejudice against like, I guess, simps. Like, I think they're super sensitive, and they just I don't know, they get on my nerves.
Don't like this. Don't like the simps, huh?
And like, I'd prefer a guy to be honest with me instead of, pander. Like, if I get the feeling that you're pandering to me, I tend to walk away.
Okay. Lady Classic.
So I think, for me, I have some prejudices about doing business with Black people. The funny thing is, I have a preference. I want to give my business to Black people, and I tend to do that first, and it tends to burn me, and then I end up having money fixing the bad job. And this normally is from second or third generation Canadian people. People who come straight from Jamaica, I tend not to have this issue with them. So if you are from Canada, like, you more so claim Canada and you're second, third generation, whatever, I have a prejudice against doing business with you because it doesn't work out well for me. Um, Other than that, I think I have a prejudice against people when they say, uh, I don't know, they think I'm uppity or something because of the way I speak, or, because I'm educated, or because I read. I think that those aren't going to be my kind of people, because, for you to think that, reading or, speaking a certain way is white or isn't Black, to me is a really narrow-minded way of thinking. And I think that you have a really narrow kind of worldview. And I also have a prejudice against people who are just too slick. When you are too slick and too put together, it makes me feel like you're running game all the time. Like, I feel like if you weren't always on a hustle, you wouldn't have the time and energy to be quite that slick. Is that as well. On a positive note, though, the darker skinned you are, I just feel like you will naturally be more manly and more powerful. It's just a natural prejudice I have at a glance. When I look at a man, the darker his skin tone is, the more I just automatically attribute all those masculine traits to him.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you ladies once again for showing up. Unicorns. They never fail to impress, man. They always impress me with the shit they lay down, man. And we was also joined by brother Jay Shine, a brother that I got a lot of respect for. I think this is what I'm going to start doing, because I kind of did this one time before. I'll have the unicorns up and I'll have one special brother on the panel as well. I think that's what I'm going to start doing. Add a new element to it. But he got to not any old person now. It can't be any old brother. It got to be like a Jay Shine, a Kevin Samuels, an Angry Man, BGS. It's got to be somebody like that. It just can't be somebody who like just kind of fell up in the chat room and said, "Yo, X Man, let me get on." It can't be nobody like that. So it's got to be somebody that I hold in high regard, because it's got to be somebody who can hold their own with these ladies, man. I'm telling you. I knew Jay Sean would hold his own up in here, because, I've listened to the brother, man, throw it down many, many times. And I appreciate you stopping by, brother. I do.
Oh, much love, man. No doubt, man.
Oh, absolutely. Lady Classic, Lady Cats, Lady Kendra. As always, I appreciate y'all. Y'all my unicorns. I don't know if y'all want to do that. Well, are we doing this again next week, y'all?
You want?
I guess so. I don't have any plans as of now.
Okay. Lady Classic, how about you? Lady Classic.
Oh, me? Oh, yeah. I told you
Okay.
Thursday.
Okay. Well, we'll do it next Thursday, because Lady Ming had wrote me and she said she wanted to come on next Thursday, but I had to make sure that everybody was going to come and all that kind of stuff. So I guess we'll do this again next Thursday. And of course, I'll have a topic. I want to thank everybody who came by, watch, stop by, hit the like button. For this episode of Unicorn 4, the Ladies of Thought, Beauty and the Brothers. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Make sure that you stop by the old Prophet of Thought Facebook page. Make sure you like, share some of the videos that you see on there. Also, stop by the T.L.O.T Bandwagon Facebook page and the Prophet of Thought series group fan page. And if you get a chance, you can also stop by our website. Our website is www.don'tevenTryIt.wikifoundry.com, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel that you're on right now. Whether you listen to it live or you're looking at the playback, make sure you share these videos, put these videos on your Facebook page, because we can use the traffic. And once again, I'd like to thank the Unicorn 4, the Ladies of Thought, part of the T.L.O.T team. You can only find them in one place. That's right here on T.L.O.T. Y'all can join us the same time next week, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. The unicorns will be back. With that, I will leave y'all with 3 words like I always do. Open your minds. And we out of here, y'all.
All right.
Peace.
Have a good night.
Cheers,
Peace.
y'all.
The Prophet of Thought series. Open your mind. Prophet of Thought series.
Only from T.L.O.T.